What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Heroclix video. We are in the chases portion of the Disney Plus set review. We got some really good ones here. There are 5 figures that I think are going to be played, and I think, at least a couple of them are going to be format defining. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to start with Agatha Harkness, number 49. This is the 100-point version of Agnes. It's when she reveals herself to Wanda. 7 range, 2 bolts, Majestix team ability, 8 clicks, solid. Bunch of stuff here. She ignores characters on targeting. She has Book of the Damned trait. She starts the game with the Darkhold equipped. Note that it doesn't cost any points, so it's just free. And when she uses its effect, she may instead choose 2 listed powers. So normally you can choose either Perplex, Prob, or Outwit, but you can choose 2, and they can use it until they choose again. So that's that's already really good. Now she has the trait is really what we're looking at here, but we'll get to that. So let's look at the attack power. It was Agatha all along. This is the first 4 clicks. Stealth, mind control. Stealth already good. Free. If Agatha Harkness occupies hindering terrain, place her in a square of hindering terrain within 4 squares of line of fire. So she can port. And it's place, not move, so she doesn't have to break away or anything. So if you have like free smoke, or if you're playing on a map with a lot of hindering, she can easily port. And then she has the attack power, which is on the second click all the way to the end. Give me your power and I will correct the flaws in your original spell. Penetrating psychic blast, steal energy but with closer range attacks. Very simple there. So essentially she has pen blast the whole dial. She has still energy for close and range. So that's already solid, because anytime you can heal a Majestix character, that's that's gonna go a long way, because they'll it makes it that much harder to get them out. 8 clicks for 100 points. She flies. Now the trait here. These are runes. Wanda. Power. Generate a rune special marker, max 1, in Agatha Harkness' square. If she is more than 3 squares from a rune marker, remove it. Other characters within 3 of her rune markers can't use powers. That's very, very powerful. So she's a little bit more mobile than Scarlet when it comes to this, because she can port 4 and then make the rune marker. So she kind of has like a 7 square reach. Even if you don't get to use that, if you look at what she just does, she has 11 attack the whole way, and then 10 on the back. But it's actually 12 in the first 4 clicks, because she has range combat expert. So she's a 12 for 4. And then add that she has Perplex, Prob, or Outwit. She's probably going to hit, right? Super Senses for the first half. And then on the back half, it goes Willpower, Shape Change. So it's going to be hard to just get around her. 19 defense up top. The only thing is that she's soft, in that there's no reducers. So if you can just, hit her hard a couple times, she could go down. Now it's gonna be hard, because the rune markers are it's gonna be huge. So if you're going to put a marker, obviously with her, you're gonna have to do it where there's no one around, because if you have people around her on your side, they're not gonna have their powers too, because it affects both characters, both sides, opposing and friendly. This means someone comes in with if they're coming in with a charge flurry, they can charge and then attack, but they can't flurry, because they don't have that flurry anymore. If they have close combat expert, they're not gonna have that exploit, nothing. Precision strike, none. And then on the other end, when you hit them back, they're not gonna have any defense. So no ESD, no shape change, no nothing, even no stop clicks, any powers on a trait, nothing. Prob, you name it. It's really big. Of course, where it's balanced is that it's a power action to do it, which means you can kind of see it coming, because if it was a free action, then yeah, it's over. But if you have to power action, you can kind of see where she's going to go, and then you can kind of get away. So that's kind of the trick and the skill of playing someone like Harkness and Scarlet Witch later on, is you're going to have to balance and do this dance to where you can get that rune marker next to opposing guys so that you can hit them. Excuse me. That's why her porting ability, where she can move from hindering to hindering, is huge, because that gives her the extra 4 squares so that she can port and then make it. So it's, like I said, it's a 7 square reach as opposed to a 3 square reach. Even if you don't get that, she has Pen Blast with RCE, and then she has Steel Energy. That's not bad at all. And with the Book of the Damned as well, having access to those 3 powers, she's a very solid piece. Celebrity Mystical Pass, very simple there. You're probably going to see her mostly on mystical teams, and probably some celebrities as well. But I think just a very good, solid piece at 100 points. Of course, if you can get some reducers on her, even better. Now, her counterpart here, we're looking at Scarlet Witch. We can look at her both at 150 and 75, but for the most part, I think we're going to look at her on the 75 dial, because 150, it's kind of a big investment for a tent pole, and she doesn't have a protected outwit, and she can later on, but she's just going to have to, kind of solo she's not Thanos, right? So at 75 points, she has the same Book of the Damned effect, that trait that Agatha has. She's 25 points less than her, but this one has a stop click. Okay, so she has shape change and super senses. So at 75, she's 5 clicks, 11 attack, and then 10. She has Pen Blast, so just like Agatha. Now here's the cool thing: she has knockback, right? When she knocks someone back, after resolutions, you either heal her 1 or you remove an action token from her. That's really big, because she has 2 bolts, so if you're able to hit one person, they get knocked back, you can heal. So you can heal from your stop click back up again. And they have to fight Super Senses Shape Change. She has Running Shot the whole dial. Avengers Initiative Majestix, so she ignores hindering. 7 range, 2 bolts. And then the stop click is cool, because it stops Super Senses Invincible, so that's already tough. When this click is revealed, for the rest of the game, Scarlet Witch has Cosmic Energy Team ability. So if she gets to that click, she has that, which means now you can't outwit her anymore. And then if she is able to attack and able to knock someone back, she can heal 1, and now she's going to heal up 1, and now you can't outwit her because she has Cosmic Energy the whole game, which also means she has willpower. Of course, on the 150 point dial, which you can do, let's just take a quick look here. She'll have 2 of these stop clicks, which means Invincible on the top. If she gets to that first stop click, she'll have all of this, which also means if she gets hit past it. The reason why I'm saying it's probably better to look at her on the lower dial, because the power to heal isn't until the last 4 clicks of the dial, which kind of wastes the first half of the dial, because if they hit her past all that, then she's just gonna get, you're basically playing her at 75 because they'll hit her past it. Because think of it like this: she doesn't have super senses, she doesn't have shape change on the top click, which means you can outwit her, hit her to the stop click, and it's just super senses at that point. If you hit her past it, now you're not going to get to that you're not going to get to that first stop click anymore, because the healing part is 2 clicks later, which means you only heal 1, which means you'll be on the first click of the 75 point dial, which means why not just play the 75 point dial? Because with Super Senses Shape Change, you have more rollouts, right? And she's also half the points. Now, she also has the similar effect that Agatha has. This one, it's called the Chaos Marker. Same thing, generate a Chaos Special Marker in a hitter square. If she's more than 3 away, remove it. If within 3, characters can't use powers. So again, it's very similar. More so, this is probably better against close combat based teams, because if they're trying to come over and charge, flurry, or whatever, they're not going to have any of that stuff. If they try to poison, they're not going to have any of that. But if they shoot her, then, because she doesn't have stealth, whereas Agatha does. So she has some protection. This one, she doesn't. However, she does have super senses and shape change. So definitely think she's at 75, definitely worth looking at. 5 clicks with a stop click. Good stats for offensive and also for utility support, because remember, she still has access to prob, perplex, and outwit, right? 2 of those. Avengers Celebrity Mystical. Probably see her on Mystical and Avengers. So the first two characters definitely, I think, we'll see a lot of play. Now this next one, I think, is one of the two characters I think that are format defining. Collector. Very simple here. 25 points, 4 clicks with a stop click. Cosmic Elders Universe. So you're really gonna see him on a Cosmic team if you're gonna do a theme, or if he's brought onto the Avengers through Steve Rogers. Cosmic Energy, Phase, and then he has Incap, and then Steel Energy, and then Super Senses, and it's a stop with Super Senses. Perplex the whole dial, already solid. Now, here's why. The first trait, of course, it's that if that's not your style. If you have at least one character of each rarity of common, uncommon, rare, and super rare on your force, friendly characters modify attack +1. The second one is there's plenty more we can play with. At the beginning of the game, if each character on your starting force is from a different Heroclix set, as long as the collector's on the map, friendly characters modify damage +1. Wow. Very rare do you get a +1/+1 that's global for your whole team, because normally they're going to have to be either next to somebody within X amount of squares, or only like 1 or 2 people have it. But this is the whole map, right? So he doesn't have to be near anybody. Furthermore, if you're able to bring people from the sideline outside of the game, like you make bystanders, you make extra characters like Sentinel or Skrull, Trouble Alerts, Hellfire Guards, whatever, Kree soldiers, they're all going to get this +1/+1 if you build it right. And with him having Perplex too, you're going to probably hit everything, because now everyone's a +1, and then he's going to at least give somebody another +1, right? With a stop click and Super Senses, and having Super Senses the whole dial, it's kind of annoying to have to expend a lot of effort to try to kill this guy, because he's only 25 points, but he does so much. So if you're going to expend a lot of energy to get rid of this guy, the whole team's still around there to fight you. So it's probably easier to hit the actual real threats as opposed to the one who created the threats, if that makes sense. Now, this is a team builder's dream right here, right? If you're a team builder in Bronze especially, this is your guy. Because he's only 25 points, so it's very easy to build around it. So you got to have at least one common, uncommon, rare, and super rare. So you have at least, if you have four characters on your team, they modify attack +1. Note that bystanders that you generate through some characters that bring in, and they go by color of the tab. So if it's a white tab, it's common, green uncommon, gray silver is rare, and then the gold is super rare. All the bystanders that are generated are common. They're white tabs, so they're going to be common. So they already fulfill that. So if you just have characters that just make bystanders, you already fulfill the common slots. It's probably better to have multiples of each, so that if you lose one, you still have another one, or at least have the person you only have one of hard to kill. Like maybe they have mastermind and you can't outwit it or something like that, or it's just hard to attack them. They have a bunch of stop clicks. I don't know. But the +1 for the attack, the whole force, is already huge, right? Because that means you don't even have to play Perplexes, even though if you're playing Collector, you already have Perplex. So there you go. And then the other one I think is more important here. Note that the +1 attack is a constant check. So if you lose the common, or if you lose one of those 4 rarities, you're not going to get the +1 anymore. But the second trait is at the beginning of the game trigger. So that means if somebody dies, you still get it. As long as Collector's alive and you lose other people, other guys come in from the same set, you're still going to get the +1 damage. Which also means anybody who comes in outside will get +1 damage. That's huge. Like I said, it's hard enough to get bonuses on just a few people, and now you're going to get bonuses for the whole team. And not just the attack, but damage. Because nowadays, damage is much harder to come by because they're not giving them perplex anymore. They're not perplexing damage anymore. So giving just a global +1 damage is really big. Because especially now that the dials are longer, anytime you can get a damage bump makes it that much easier to get to KO these longer dials, right? So instead of 2 attacks, you might do 1. But this guy, Obviously, Latveria and Cosmic are like the two main teams you can look at. But if you really want to get, you want to get jiggy with it, you can play Steve Rogers, bring him over to Avengers, and then do that way. Because if you play something like Black Widow Chase, and you get both of these triggers, when she makes a recruit or initiate, they get +1/+1. So that's huge. So this is going to be one format defining piece. Now the second one is number 54, Sakaarian Iron Man. All right, seems very simple. It's like, it's only 2 powers really. 6 range, 50 points. Great keywords: Avengers, Armor, Celebrity Scientist, Warrior, Stark Industries. He's got willpower the whole dial, 7 clicks. 7 clicks for 50 points are really good. But of course, the stats don't look great, right? It's only 10s, 17s, whatever. He has damage power in the first 4, which is Outwit Perplex, and then Perplex in the back. So already, great support powers. Now he's got the trait, which is what we're looking at here. I've worked with scraps before. At the beginning of the game, you may generate up to 3 standard objects anywhere on the map, at least 5 squares from each other. When Sakaarian Iron Man picks up a standard object, he may instead place it on his card if less than 2 objects are on his card. So basically, he can only pick up 2. If you have 1, you can pick up 2. The second one. If you have 2, then you can't. You can't put it on his card. Now, he modifies his combat values +1 for each standard object on his card. So you're going to have 2. He'll be +2 to all his stats. And at the beginning of the turn, you may choose 1 standard speed or attack power for each object on his card. That's crazy. So that means he can choose like Charge Flurry. He could use Charge Still Energy, Flurry Still Energy, Running Shot, whatever. And he's +2 to stats because he's going to have 2. And when Sakaarian Iron Man would be dealt damage from an opponent's attack, he may remove a standard object from his card to take 1 unavoidable instead. Which means if somebody's coming in with a Sky Tyrant hitting him for 5, you can just remove 1. So that means you have two objects for him to take out, remove, that he can mitigate the damage. 7 clicks, pretty hard. This guy is the perfect candidate for an entity. Because his stats are so low that if you put an entity on him, he's always going to get a stat boost, almost, right? His dial length is good, where it can reach all the way down to the click 7 of those powers. Number 2, it'll give him a reducer, because he doesn't have reducers, only willpower. So if they don't have a penetrating attack and they're able to, let's say they hit him for 3. Normally, if you don't have a reducer, you hit it for 3, you're going to take 3 or you're going to have to remove an object, right? So you have to think about that. But with the reducer, like invuln or imperv, if they hit him for 3, he's only going to take 1, which means you don't have to take the object off because you're going to take 1 anyway, right? Of course, it's 25 points, but a couple things happen, which means, which are that you can choose on your offensive turn, you can choose an attack or speed power that's on the entity, and then you can choose different attack or speed power. So you can combo it a lot, right? And if you can give him sidestep, either through one of the sins in bronze with the relics, because they give them sidestep, entity, I think Brainiac and Predator give sidestep, Cloak gives sidestep, Yaphet from the Dr. Clarefin gives sidestep. It means that he can pick up 2 objects in 1 turn. So he'll be fully loaded for next turn already. Whereas normally he'd have to move, pick it up, and wait next turn and move and pick up again. So he'll have 2 on turn 1, and then he's ready to go. And he'll be at least a 12. So his stats will be a 12, 12, 19, 4 with 8 range minimum. And that's not even counting if you have an entity and he picks +1 damage, he'll be doing 5. +1 attack will be 13. +1 range, 9. His movement, his running shot movement or charge movement will be 8. That's something to scoff at there. So this one is definitely going to be hard to kill in bronze. One more thing you can do in that is you can play the New York Harbor, or you play any piece out there that can generate objects, because if he starts taking like chunks of damage and you start having to remove your objects, in order to keep him going, all you have to do is just pick up another object on your sidestep. Then he's back to only taking 1. So the New York Harbor gives you objects right away, and it also if you win the map, you can generate more objects for him to pick up. And also, there's just characters out there that just generate like light objects for him to pick up. So that's something to look for. And he is low enough points at only 50 that if you lose him or you build around him, it's not that much. In fact, he can even just be like a side piece to the main team, right? So, all right, and then the last piece here, I really like this one. Of course, I'm really looking at him at the high point, although you can play him at the lower ones. But we're looking at the Captain America Falcon Sam Cap here. For the rate at 125 points, just very solid. 9 clicks for 125. Okay, 6 range, 2 bolts, Avengers Initiative, Avengers Celebrity Warrior, Soldier, sorry. He's got Invincible in the first 3, Deflection on the next 3, and then Super Sense in the back. Close Combat Expert to Leadership, because if you're playing on the different point values, he'll have like Leadership instead. But this is like the more offensive one. It's Precision Strike, Quake to Pen Blast. He has Force Blast, Hypersonic, Stealth up top, and he has Charge to Running Shot. So he's got a lot of different things, but he has, look at the stats on the top clip. It's for only 125. He's 12 attack with Precision Strike, 19 defense with a 4 damage Close Combat Expert. He's a 13 for 5, just straight up. Okay, now, he also has a trait Carrying on the Legacy of Captain America in My Own Way. He starts the game with both the Captain America shield and the Red Wing equipped if you want. And he can have both of them equipped at the same time. So he'll be a 21 from range with the shield. And then the Red Wing gives him another character, right? It gives Outwit, like I said, Hyper Precision Strike, Outwit, Super Senses, whatever. And then he has a trait, another one, Willing to Stand Up and Keep Fighting. This is really good. Defend Willpower. When an adjacent friendly character replaces their defensive value with Captain America's, that character can use Toughness for that attack. This is why I like him at 125. Because he has a 19 defense. So his defend will be 19 for them. And he just has willpower too, right? And when they replace it, they get toughness, which means that's just more longevity on their part, right? And then he has the speed power, like I said here. He has Force Blast, Hypersonic, Stealth. So he also has some protection from, he can hide. When he uses Hyper and hits with a close attack after resolutions, he may place a hit character adjacent to himself, then use Force Blast as free. Which is great because he can hit them, he can come back, kind of like the old Nightcrawler, come back, and then when he basically drags them back to him, and then he can knock them back. So he can like reposition his enemies maybe away from them or towards the rest of your team to kill, which is really good because you can isolate them. With another reason why I like him at 125, because he only has 3 clicks of reducers, and on the lower dial it's only deflection. It's soft. It's just deflection and super senses. So having 3 clicks of invincible gives him that much more longevity, resiliency, right? 9 clicks, great stats, good numbers all around. I don't know how viable he is, but just looking at this, he could be a foundation for like a team that can utilize all of his strengths here, because he'll be able to defend and he'll be able to attack and reposition enemies. So that's something to look at, reposition them. So all right, well, that's the chases. I think, like I said, there are 2 figures here that I think are super format defining, with another couple being in the metagame just completely, because people are going to try to break the Agatha and Scarlet rune markers, chaos markers. So be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited for the collector teams. That's what I've been looking at for a while. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let me know what you guys think of the collector and like what kinds of combos you can do with them. And if you think Captain America is good on the lower dials, like what are your reasons for it? I just feel like he's probably better at 125, or don't play him at all, in my opinion. But please like, comment, share. Yeah, that's it. I'll be back for the primes. And until next time, guys, remember, only bad players won the dice. See ya.